It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus, episode 106. It is episode number 21 here in season number 4 and our 9th episode here in semester number 2. My name is Matt Menzel, our focus. This week in segment number 2, we talk with Patrick Cassidy. He is the Concordia University of Wisconsin Athletic Communications Graduate Assistant, of course, also the son of men's basketball head coach Sean Cassidy. But up first, our focus on women's lacrosse and being joined by a dual sport athlete here on campus in both field hockey and women's lacrosse, that being freshman Ella Maltby. Ella, thanks a lot for your time. And you look at the women's lacrosse team, a big matchup coming up at Fitting Field on Saturday, a battle for first place against the Aurora University Spartans. As of right now, the Falcons have 7 wins and 6 losses, off to a 4-0 start in conference play. They've won 6 consecutive. I guess your thoughts on the way the team's playing right now?
Yeah, well, first off, thank you for having me. And right now, in the beginning of the season, we did have a tough start, but definitely right now, I think we're playing together. We're putting all those little things together and making things happen. We're a lot better this year than have in years past, and just playing as a team, I think, has gotten us through those tough games. And here coming up on Saturday with one of our probably toughest games of the season, hopefully we can make those things click again and pull out another win.
And pull out another one you guys did on Saturday against Concordia Chicago. That was an 11-7 result, outscoring the Cougars 8-4 in the second half. You had 2 of those second half goals. I guess in your opinion, when you look at that game, what was the difference in that second half? How were you guys able to create that separation?
Yeah, so first half, obviously, if you were at the game, it was 82 degrees, so the heat kind of got to us a bit. But, I think our resiliency as a team is really strong, as we have seen in multiple games. We've come from either pretty close scoring or even behind and brought up to pull out a win. And I think that's what happened again, against CUC, because we just really wanted to be undefeated in conference. We were talking about that the whole game. Every time we had a huddle, we're like, come on, guys, we want this so bad. So, yeah, I think just our drive and stuff, we were just like, we just got to rack up the goals, make it easier on ourselves. So, yeah.
You were telling me the other day you had a free position shot that was essentially a wide-open goal.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So it was actually at that game against Concordia Chicago, and the goalie, she jabbed me with her stick, and so the refs called it. And I've seen it happen in high school and to one of my other teammates during the season, Caitlin Carnell, and the goalie has to go behind you and the net's wide open. And sometimes I think that's actually the hardest shot because you get so nervous. So, yeah, but I ended up sinking it, which was good. So
You definitely don't want to overthink that open goal shot. And for you, you've had 4 free position goals. When you get a free position shot, do you have a strategy going in? Are you thinking about what you want to do, or is it kind of a come as you go kind of scenario?
yeah, personally, I think it's kind of come as I go, but most people do have a plan, practice them. It kind of depends. If I've already scored on the goalie, I know what her weaknesses are. So it kind of just depends from each team. But usually I go for the power shot right away, and then go for more of a finesse shot, which take it in. So yeah.
So far this season, you've scored 17 goals. You have 1 assist. You've scored goals now in 8 consecutive games. How do you feel like you've been playing this year?
This year I feel, as a freshman especially, I've gotten lots of playing time and lots of goals on the board, which is great as a freshman. Especially being a collegiate athlete, I didn't know how much I was going to play. I didn't know how much I was going to score. So, being able to score at least 1 goal past 8 games it just makes me really proud of myself. I've been playing lacrosse for quite a while, and it's just my younger self is really proud. So. Yeah.
And no question, no matter what role you've been in and in more recent action, coming off that bench, you've been that spark for the attack. And your first collegiate goal, that came in your very first collegiate game, and that was back on March 3rd at Elmhurst. Do you remember much about that first collegiate goal?
Yeah, actually. Another thing about Caitlin Carnell, we roomed together. We were best friends. So we were like, you know what? We were both really nervous for the game. So we were like, you know what? We're going to be those 2. We're going to bring the game because we didn't know how it was going to go. And we're like, it's going to be us. And we were the first 2 to score. So it was like a really memorable moment for both of us to be the two like freshmen on the team that score. So. Yeah.
How about for the sport of lacrosse? When did you first start playing the sport and why?
I started playing in 4th grade, and it was for a recreational team near my hometown. So we didn't really have much of the sport of lacrosse or field hockey. I didn't start playing field hockey until high school. But, yeah, lacrosse has been a little bit longer. Nothing too crazy, though. But why? Honestly, it was me and my group of friends. We were all like, you know what, like, this sounds fun. Like, none of us have ever played. And it was, you only go out on Sundays. You practice 30 minutes before the game. And you would have a scrimmage with the other team, which is, like, from, like, half of our hometown. And the other half would just play against each other. So, I mean, it was a ton of fun. Got us to know the sport. And it actually grew so much that now there's going to be middle school teams coming to the middle schools nearby my hometown, which that wouldn't have been possible without the neighborhood club teams.
So would you say overall it's been a smooth transition going from, the prep level to the collegiate game as far as the sport of lacrosse?
I would say like from my high school team coming here is definitely a bit of a transition. I would say that our team here has tons of talent and obviously learning so much from all the girls on my team. Like most of them would know that I'm not very strong on my left hand and I hate to use it, so all of their like confidence in themselves and also in me has really made me like improve myself, all my skill levels. So yeah, this transition has not been easy always, but I feel like especially now I've improved a ton. Like just being able to, my whole goal for my whole collegiate career was to make 1 goal on my left hand, and I did it this season. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Have you been practicing more with that left hand at all, or?
Yeah, I have. It's not my favorite thing, but you got to do what you got to do.
You mentioned you started playing field hockey. That's the other sport you play here at Concordia as a dual sport athlete. In high school, why field hockey?
So my cousin played it, and she was like, you should really try it. I mean, I've been a dancer my whole life, and my dance teacher wasn't thrilled when she found out I was going to be playing sports. So, yeah, my cousin was like, you know what, you should try. And I ended up trying it, fell in love with it. It was something new, something cool to me, and I loved it, and here I am now.
And your past fall was your first collegiate season. How do you feel your first field hockey season went?
I felt like it went really well. I mean, we performed pretty well. Had a rough end to our conference championships, not the way we wanted it to go. But, yeah, I thought it was great and had a good season.
A lot of travel when it comes to
Yeah.
field hockey. Did you
Yeah.
get used to the travel at all?
I don't think I'll ever get used to the travel, honestly. I mean, yeah, but I think it's great. I love playing down south. I mean, especially, it's not too cold here in the fall, but it's always good for a change of scenery. We make lots of memories on the bus and the travel. It's a lot of fun with the girls. Staying in the hotels, the long travel hours. So, yeah, we get most of our homework done on the bus because we have to. And then the games, then we bus right back here for school. So
I was going to ask you about those bus rides. You mentioned the homework, the fun with the team. How do you guys spend that time? And does it fly by usually or maybe not so much?
So I usually nap most of the time.
And you can nap on a bus?
Yeah. We're a pretty quiet bus. Most people are either doing homework, napping, eating snacks, watching shows. So except for the one time when we bused to New Jersey and we had Coach Sam and her brand new baby on the bus with us.
Ooh.
It was a 15-hour bus ride with them. It was a fun one. Yeah, but most of the time we kind of just chill, watch movies. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, if we don't get our homework done on the bus, usually Coach plans out some study table hours for us that we have to do in the hotel, which I feel like is good just so that it's not like we're moving and just like a constant place to do our work.
Is this a unique time for you in the sense that, okay, field hockey has their quote-unquote spring season on top of the fact you're playing lacrosse? You're able to partake in both? Do you focus only on lacrosse? How does this time of the year work for you?
Yeah, so since I do play both, I can totally, on my off days of lacrosse, or even like sometimes like our field hockey practices are right after our lacrosse I can totally go to it, but usually at that point I'm toast. So I haven't been to one yet, but I am hoping to get out to a couple, just because I love the girls, love the team. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see how they do in their upcoming 7v7 tournament. I wish I could be there playing with them, but lacrosse season comes first right now, so yeah.
I saw in high school you also spent 1 year in the sport of gymnastics. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I actually was a competitive gymnast for a majority of my life, and then I quit to pursue dance. I was doing both, but it got too hard, and so I quit, did just dance for a while, and then freshman year of high school, I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And then my best friend at the time was like, you should do it. And I was like, fine, I'll do it. So I went out to the tryout, made the team, and ended up being one of the state competitors for floor and beam. But then I ended up breaking my foot,
Ooh.
and that's what ended my gymnastics career. So,
The end.
yeah, it was done after that. I don't think I've ever fully recovered from that, but we did have a good season that year. I mean, I thought I did pretty good. I placed in states, and for not doing gymnastics for like 6 years and then being able to get back up there and do all those crazy skills, I thought was pretty impressive, and most of the people were impressed that I haven't done it for so long. So, yeah.
So you came to Concordia. Did you come with the expectation or the thought that you'd play a couple of different sports?
Yeah, so I actually still get requests that I do join the acro and tumbling team.
I was going to ask that too. Yep.
But I don't know. It could happen. I don't really know yet. I mean, the two sports is kind of working good for me right now. Yeah, originally I came here for field hockey first, and then while I was looking at a couple other schools, I asked them about lacrosse programs, and they were like, there was especially one program, and they were like, yeah, we don't condone that. Like, we don't like the lacrosse team, so we're not going to do that. And I was like, oh, but then here obviously got the completely different feel. Obviously, my coaches are sister-in-laws. So they were like, yeah, come on and join. And that's like kind of one of the bigger things that did sell me here, because like I love both the sports so much, and being able to play both in college is just a dream come true. So
I'm sure you get this a lot. Your dad, Kirk, playing in the NHL, played 14 seasons with the Detroit Red Wings, 4 Stanley Cups. Did you ever play ice hockey?
I would say I did it for like maybe a month, and then I was like, no, not for me. But my siblings, my sister played one season, and I think she got kicked off the team because first game, she dropped the gloves and swung at a girl. That's just the type of person my sister is, though, if you guys know my sister.
That's fantastic. So she's ready to go.
Yeah.
The enforcer from day one.
Yeah, that's my sister. But my brother, yeah, he still plays hockey. My dad actually just created his own hockey team.
Is that right?
Yeah. So he just has a pro shop right now, and then decided to make a hockey team. So yeah, they have their first practice today, actually. So I'm super excited to see where that goes. Yeah, it's crazy. I get things, oh my gosh, you're Kirk Maltby's daughter all the time. But honestly, like, I don't care. I'm proud of it. Like, he was a rock star when he played.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely I miss watching all the Red Wings games, being here. I can't go home that often. When I do go home, of course I get out to those Red Wings games. Sad that they're not in the playoffs right now, but, you know.
Do you follow I mean, they just started, but you following the hockey playoffs?
Yes, I do. So my dad and I were cheering for the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. So my dad did play one season with Edmonton. So, of course.
The two teams that lost last night in overtime.
Yeah, it was a bummer. Dallas, I love them. Jim Nill is the old Red Wings GM, so we're always rooting for him. So, and he's sent a couple Dallas things my way. His daughter used to babysit for me. So, we've come pretty close with them, and yeah, so go Stars.
Do you remember at all watching, at least early on in your life, the last few years of your dad's career?
I do. There's lots of memories there. I remember getting booed a lot by fans of other teams.
Any one particular team?
Oh yeah, Chicago.
The Blackhawks.
Yeah, so I was cheering one time, and I had like a Red Wings cheerleader outfit and then a sign because it was my dad's birthday. And it was like, "Happy birthday, Dad, like go number 18." And I was holding it up. And every time, they put me on the Jumbotron like 3 times. I don't know why, because Chicago fans and other like teams fans don't mix well. And so everybody just kept booing me. And then this guy was very under the influence. And he comes up from behind me and just dumps his beer
Are you serious?
down my back. Yeah. And he got
Was that in Chicago?
yeah. He got escorted out, so it was fine. And then I definitely remember the 2008 Stanley Cup playoff championship. Even though most of the pictures I was sleeping for most of the party. But yeah, that was just a great moment, especially like to end off my dad's career. I mean, he had 2 seasons after that, but that was a really big part. Plus, like, that was the introduction to my siblings into the family. So, yeah, it was a great time for all of us.
Let's bring up your siblings. They're twins.
Yeah.
How unique is that?
It's crazy. We have quite a few sets of twins in our family. But, yeah, I love those 2 pieces. I mean, being a boy and girl, I feel like they are pretty opposite. But at the same time, they're just so close, and both so close with me. Like, you think sometimes they're just, like, with each other. But
what's the separation, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, like 4.5, 5 years. But I think we're all pretty close. Like, they actually came here not that long ago, and, yeah, they love to come visit.
And you said your sister did play hockey or does play hockey?
Not anymore. She's
okay.
a big gymnast.
What about your brother?
He's big into hockey, and he's playing lacrosse right now, too.
Oh, nice.
They're both playing lacrosse for their high school team right now. Both doing good. They're both starters as freshmen in high school, so I'm proud of them for that. They would have never played lacrosse if it wasn't for me. So
look at you.
I guess I could take credit, but I mean...
laying down the foundation.
Yeah. So, and then my sister's big level 10 gymnast. Okay. So, yeah.
Maybe she might come here for acrobatics and tumbling one day.
Yeah, maybe
Never
she
know.
might.
In field hockey, you're number 18. In lacrosse, you're number 21. Any significance to those numbers?
18, obviously, it's a given. That was my dad's number. It's been my number basically my whole life. And it was actually kind of like, I didn't think I was going to get that number because there was actually somebody who had it and then had transferred, and I just got lucky. So, yeah, I was like, even though the jersey's a little bit big on me, I'm going to stick it out and wear it. So, but 21, yeah, I honestly didn't know. Obviously, one of our captains is number 18, so I can't take that from her. And I wanted number 8, and there was another person who had 8. And then my dad was like, "What about 19?" And the jersey was a large, and I was like, I don't know. And he was like, "Pick 21." And I was like, all right, looks like I'll do 21. So, yeah.
To wrap it all up, lacrosse this weekend, big matchup. Fitting Field, 3 o'clock. Battle for first against the Aurora University Spartans before the regular season wraps up on April 29th at Illinois Tech at 12 noon. I guess your thoughts on the road ahead and maybe goals maybe you have for yourself going into these final couple of games.
Yeah, it's sad to see the season ending so quick. I mean, I feel like it just flew by. It feels like the start of it was literally yesterday. But, yeah, we're super excited, pumped up for this game on Saturday. It's going to be a tough one, but I think we're ready for it. We have a couple practices leading up to it. Hopefully we can prepare and be ready for it. And then our game against Illinois Tech, looking for another win, obviously. I think we'll be able to pull one out. And then hopefully we have a good ride in playoffs.
Can't wait. And again, as of right now, the Falcons sit in a spot to host at least one playoff matchup coming up on May 3rd. Ella, thanks a lot for your time. All the best.
Thank you so much.
That is Ella Maltby kind enough to join us when we come back. Our focus as we go into the athletic communication office, and we'll talk with graduate assistant Patrick Cassidy.
Since 1978, Lutheran Church Extension Fund has had the humble privilege of supporting the Lutheran Church Missouri Synod in fulfilling its mission of sharing the gospel.
Thanks to our faithful investors, we provided thousands of church workers, congregations, schools, and organizations with the resources they need to reach more people with the saving name of Christ. It's what we do.
Because our greatest joy comes from seeing LCMS Ministries and her workers thrive, we will continue to make precious resources available, both today and far into the future. It's our promise to you.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund.
We are Lutheran Church Extension Fund. We want to be part of your great and exciting work.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus, episode 106, our 21st episode here in season number 4, our 9th here in season number 2. We go from talking with Ella Maltby, who, from what I understand, off-air has a acting career and perhaps has even tried out for shows on Nickelodeon, to a guy who watches Nickelodeon, that being the graduate assistant for the athletic communications department, that being Patrick Cassidy, your dad, Sean Cassidy, and we'll talk about your association with Concordia and men's basketball as we go along. But what are, as a grad assistant, this being your first year, what are your responsibilities in the athletic communication office?
I do a lot with the website. I update rosters, add bio information. For me personally, I'm good at the creative stuff, so I do a lot of photos and highlight videos.
We'll talk all about your video background, too, as we go along, but it's been 8+ months so far in the job. From day one to now, how do you feel like you've grown? What have you learned in that time?
I've definitely learned how to be a better people person. We have a lot of students in the office, and I'm somewhat in charge of them. Not really, but you know how it is. Just learning how to manage different people like that. The first 4 months were really just learning. I had no clue what I was walking into, and I was just learning through trial and error. And I think these last 4 months I've really found my groove, which is like the photos and videos and just making creative content for the different teams here at Concordia.
You've talked about your strengths in this position. I guess when you look at your job in 8+ months, what do you love about what you're doing? What do you find to be the most challenging part?
I'm not very good with stats. I think I avoid that like the plague. I do not want to touch stats. I leave that to Josh, Jeremy, and the other students who know what they're doing. I'm trying to improve on that, though, but definitely leave that to them. And then as for like the strengths or something that I've enjoyed, it's just the different people that I've gotten to meet. We have some good students in the office, and, I feel like we've built a friendship.
We have, and we've known each other, record be said, that many years, and we've done this before when you were, like, what?
I think 6 years old.
I was going to say this tall maybe, and there was a lot of yes-no questions back then.
Yep. Yeah.
There's pictures out there somewhere, the audio.
I saw them before. They do exist.
They do exist.
I know. I was trying to bring it in today. Couldn't find it.
Couldn't find it. When you needed them, you couldn't find them.
Nope.
You mentioned working with student workers, though. Is that difficult sometimes in the sense that you're not that far removed from their age?
Yeah, it's sort of weird giving instructions to people that may even be my age. There's a lot of people. I just graduated last year from Concordia, so to have people that are only 1, 2, 3, 4 years younger than me, it's definitely a weird dynamic, but I think we've all gotten along pretty well.
What attracted you when this position first opened up and you heard about it? What attracted you to go after it?
Being around sports, I'm a person that likes to be around familiar situations, and growing up essentially at Concordia was really nice. I know the campus, obviously, from going to school, but then I also knew the sports from just living here for the however long it's been, I think 18 years now, living in Wisconsin.
It's funny because I wrote right here on my paper, you essentially grew up here at Concordia.
That is true.
What has that been like?
Well, especially with the basketball team, I feel like those people that when I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, those were like, I had like 25 older brothers. I mean, I'm the oldest of my family. I got 2 younger sisters, but it really felt like a little family because they would come over and watch NBA All-Star games, have cookouts and stuff in the summer. So it just felt like a family. You
were telling me the other day, and I love this story and I want to hear it. You had a birthday party here once upon a time.
2. I was thinking about. Yeah, I was talking to my dad. I was talking to my dad about that. I was like, "Hey, remember when I had a birthday party?" He was like, "You had 2," and I was like, "That's right." I think 2nd and 4th grade. My birthday's in November, and the weather is pretty iffy outside. I believe it was snowing both days, and I just wanted to play basketball with my friends. So we literally went in here behind us, and my dad ran like a little basketball camp for like my whole grade. And then we went into a field house classroom, had pizza, open presents, and had some ice cream.
The question is, did your dad reserve the classroom ahead of time?
I don't think so. I'll have to bring that up.
That's a violation
It
of
is.
some kind.
I should tattle.
The neat thing, though, is growing up, it had to be neat in the sense that you had VIP access. So, hey, you tell your friends want to come see a college basketball game, you had all access.
Yeah, I felt like a little bit of a celebrity just because, like, the guys were so nice to me. They would treat me like just like a little celebrity. I'd sit on the bench. I would travel with them, have team meals. It was kind of weird.
There have been some great teams along the way. What are some of your memories from watching Concordia basketball?
I remember one player, Paul Rosine. He was a student teaching at my school. So he was a player, and then so I'd see him play, and then he would be like my basketball coach when he could at First Emmanuel. I remember the 2010-11 or 11-12 where they went undefeated in conference, and they had a lot of good players like Mitch Snyder, Luke Dodens, all those guys.
Get an opportunity to host an NCAA tournament game during that run as well against Luther. When you look back, and I know you've had the opportunity to travel as well. You've had some road trips outside of the state. Tell us about those.
I remember
Florida, California.
Yeah, Florida and California. Florida was when I was in college, so I believe my sophomore year. And then the California one, I want to say, was when I was in 4th grade. That was like the first big trip I had taken, and it was nice because that's where my family is from, my mom's side. So I got to do like half and half family activities and then half basketball activities. I believe they played Cal Lutheran and I forget the other team, but it was a good trip. It was fun. Got to hang out with the guys, go to the beach. And again, I'm only 10 years old, and those guys are 18 to 22, but it didn't feel weird. It didn't feel awkward, which I really was appreciative of.
Any good Coach Cassidy stories? The real meat and potatoes. What's he like on game day?
A nervous wreck? No. I will say after a game, he watches your broadcast maybe like 2 or 3 times.
Well, so I get the text.
He'll come home. Well, if we win, it's a great day. We'll go to the Highland House. I'll get free food and all that. We'll come home, and he'll rewatch the game probably until like midnight, go to sleep, wake up, get ready for church. And as I'm coming down, ready to leave for church around like 10 o'clock, he probably has watched the game once or twice already.
Was it a no-brainer for you then to come to Concordia as a student?
When people asked me in my junior year of high school, I was like, nope, not going there, because I wanted something different. But then it just made sense financially. I'm, again, someone who likes their familiar surroundings, and nothing more familiar than here, I guess. So it was a no-brainer when I looked at those factors.
Did you ever play sports outside of basketball growing up?
Yes, I played soccer and baseball in high school. I also did play cross country in high school for 5 weeks because they needed
5 weeks
because they needed people. So they had 7 good runners. I believe 3 went down with injury, and they were they're poised to make like a good state run and stuff. So they asked me and 2 other soccer midfielders to join the team.
How'd that go?
We won conference, won regionals, and we made it to state.
How about for you?
Oh, for me, I think I did pretty well. I remember the first meet, I ran, and people were like, you don't look tired. And I was like, I had no clue what I was doing. I don't know how to pace myself. I never ran.
Did you ever consider playing any sport at the collegiate level?
Basketball. I thought about it. Essentially what happened was you see the talent that was ahead of me. So you see and in my class, so Jared Jers, Brandon Keller, Joey Zietlow, Garrett Hoffman, Jordan Johnson. It's I don't know if I can beat those guys, and I know how much of a dedication it is to play college sports. I didn't know if I wanted to put in that time to never touch the court.
What's kind of unique is to bring it full circle. Okay, you grew up in this gym essentially, and you've played in this gym at the high school level.
Yep, I played here 6 times as a part of the WBY shootout hosted by Mark Miller. That was a good time. Unfortunately, those were probably my worst 6 games I've ever played. It's ironic because I would come in here in the summer and shoot around, but I don't know what it was. I just really choked at those games. Also played at Capco Park, I want to say 4 times in my high school career.
Well, in your current capacity, you've had the unique opportunity, obviously, to work with your dad, work with the men's basketball team. what's that relationship like where all of a sudden it's, yeah, your father's son, but at least here it's you're in the athletic communication department and he's the basketball coach.
Yeah, I was really cognizant not to show favoritism. Just treat him like a normal team. But obviously people know that there's a relationship there. And so he would try and make special requests, but I'd be like, I don't do that for any other team. I'm not doing that for you.
And what's neat, too, is you filled in on some broadcasts, including on men's basketball, which requires a pregame interview, which you've interviewed your dad. How did that come about, or how did that go?
We talked about it before the interview and, like, what questions I was thinking of, and he would, like, phrase it this way, or I don't like that order. He never told me what questions to say. So just so everyone knows, he didn't make the questions, but he would tell me how to rephrase them or put them in what order. But it was interesting. I thought it went well.
And we can find those on the archive at the Falcon, Athletic Network, CUWFalcons.com. Currently here in the springtime, you cover a couple of sports. You have baseball, you have track and field. Let's start with track and field. How do you feel their season's going so far?
Early in the outdoor, Maya Heichler, she does great work out there. They put her through a lot of events, so she racks up a lot of points. And then also I have a lot of friends, being so young, is that all the throwers on that team are my friends. So it's kind of funny to write an article about them, like Seth Day threw 35 meters in discus or something.
I'm going to ask you about some of your friends that are currently still playing sports here in a second, but you had the opportunity to go to Arizona with the baseball team this past spring. How fun was that experience?
That was really, really fun. I was really appreciative of the team. They were really nice to me. It was great weather, great food, and to go 8-1 was a good start to their season. I think they completed a 6 or 7 game winning streak out there too.
And now the baseball team, as we sit here, getting ready for a makeup doubleheader against Marion. Also playing doubleheaders on Saturday and Sunday. Sunday home against St. Norbert at 12 noon. And when you look at the way the baseball season has started, they have split 4 out of their first 5 conference doubleheaders. They swept the other. That was against Rockford a week ago. Your thoughts on the way the baseball team's playing right now here in conference? I guess the plus side is they're not getting swept, but that game 1 seems to be just a pain in the side.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know baseball that well, but they seem to win the second one. So I think if they can continue a split, obviously they don't want to, but if they can split against the better teams in the conference, I mean, that does bode well for them, the ability to beat anybody. Like, obviously they beat MSOE after falling in the first one. If they can do that to, like, Aurora and Benedictine, those are things that other teams usually can't do. Obviously you want to get a sweep, but to split against a nationally ranked team like Aurora, benefits them, whereas most teams are getting swept by them easily.
And again, the key, just like in any other sport, you just got to get into that NAC tournament, because once you get into that tournament, it's a free-for-all, and especially here at Capco Park, you like to think you have the home field advantage. One of the nice additions has been a guy you know very well, and a guy that was on this show a couple of weeks back, that being Jimmy Jurgensen. Tell us about Jimmy.
He's a goofy guy.
Goofy guy.
I mean, we've known each other ever since I can remember. My dad and his dad went to Concordia here, played basketball. We went to First Emmanuel Lutheran in Cedarburg together. Went to high school together, played. He's a year younger than me, so we played 3 years of high school sports together, both basketball and baseball. And he's doing what he did in high school, hit home runs and doubles and driving RBIs.
Were you pretty excited when he decided to come here?
I was. I thought after he went to Grand Canyon, I know he was thinking about coming here. He went to Nebraska, and I was a little down because he's one of my best friends, but to see him here and then have success, I'm just really proud of him.
You look at sports, and you get the opportunity now to kind of, I guess dab your toe in the water, if you will, covering every sport here. Yes. I'm going to venture to guess when you started, there were some sports you knew very little about.
Yep.
Is there a sport or two that you look at and go, man, I knew nothing, and now, I'm starting to get the hang of it.
I'm liking lacrosse.
Okay.
I think that's a very exciting sport, both men's and women's. I kind of like
those are two different sports.
Yeah, I kind of like how they're different, though. I like the free position for the women, but then I also like the physicality of the men, and, they're good, so it's fun to watch them too. Both teams. And it's funny, I got put on a hockey call, like their second game of the year. So I apologize to any hockey players, Coach Masso. I don't know anything about hockey. That was terrible.
Have you learned about icing yet and offside?
I could not tell you. And I gave a call. So
You got through it.
I had Anna Van Herky join me for one call.
That
The
helps.
women's hockey goalie. I just deferred to her the whole time. I would be like, I think that's a penalty, and she'd be like, no, that's offsides. I was like, oh, thank you, Anna.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was rough.
Luckily, you're a big basketball fan, and I have to ask you before we wrap up our segment, NBA playoffs have started. Handicap the playoffs for us. What do you feel good about?
I'm surprised by the Kings that they're playing this well. They are up 2-0 against the Warriors. I was a little disappointed in the Bucks. That was pretty pitiful performance, but Giannis is supposed to come back. Tyler Hero is out.
And that hurts big time.
So I think I'm a Bucks fan, so I think it looks pretty good for us. That was a poor first game, but I think we can bounce back.
We had one of your buddies on last week from Denver.
Oh, yeah.
Who was predicting Nuggets-Bucks, or at least was hoping for a Nuggets-Bucks finals. Do you think that's realistic?
I do think it's realistic. I saw the Nuggets' first game. They look great.
Not close.
Jokic is something else.
The plan is for you now, after this season is all said and done, you'll be back next school year, at least for another go-around. Ultimately, with this experience, with your background in video production, what do you hope to do? What do you hope to parlay all this experience into?
Doing the video and creative stuff maybe at a bigger school or professional team or league. I know I've gotten able to shoot like 1 or 2 Bucks games in my life, and that's been a real blessing in my life.
Sure.
It's just something I want to maybe do full-time, but you obviously have to build your portfolio, build your connections, and I think that's something that I do pretty well outside of Concordia. But that takes a lot of work, as you probably know, doing your thing.
I'm waiting now that this interview is over. I'll get the text from your dad. All the questions I did not ask.
You will.
But, to be fair, I remember the criticism I got all those years ago when you were about this tall and we interviewed you courtside. It was all yes/no questions.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot better.
We've done a lot. Both of us done a lot
We've
better.
improved.
We've grown up. It's only taken almost a decade and a half. But, Patrick, thanks a lot for your
Yeah,
time.
thank you for having me.
All the best. And you can see him out at the various Concordia sporting events throughout the course of this year. Now going into the next year, that is Patrick Cassidy, the graduate assistant for the Concordia Athletic Communications Department. That will do it this week for Falcon Focus. We'll do it again next Tuesday.